Today, we're going to be making healthy dessert recipes. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Alyssa and I make videos about living a healthy lifestyle and being a college student. So today I'm going to be showing you my top 4 healthy dessert recipes, and these are all so delicious, very easy to make, and you probably already have most of the stuff in your house right now. So if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any more content. And without further ado, let's get started. Starting off, our first recipe is banana bread granola squares. You want to make sure that before using any of these recipes, you are washing your hands because of this pandemic. But once that's done, you are going to peel 2 bananas, and I used ones that were pretty ripe because I like the sweetness. So you're going to empty them into a bowl, and then you're going to mash them with a fork. And you want to make sure that they're pretty well mashed so that there's no like big lumps or anything, and you're going to see that it'll come out to a pretty runny kind of consistency like this. For sweetness, we're going to add in a 1/4 cup of honey, and just look how beautiful that honey looks. I love honey and I think it's so delicious to add, but you can also add maple syrup. So I like to use a little bit of a half and half mixture between the two just so that there's not like one overbearing flavor. So then you're going to pour the honey and maple syrup mixture and then stir it all together. I'm adding in 2 or 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, and then I like to microwave it so that when it actually cooks, it'll set more firmly. So you have the microwaved coconut oil and you're just gonna pour that in just like you did with the honey. Next up, just add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I have this delicious vanilla we got on vacation a while ago, and this will make it have a really good flavor. So now you're gonna mix all of those wet ingredients together, and you wanna make sure that it's a very well combined mixture. So now we're going to start adding in the dry ingredients. So I add in 2 cups of oats, and I used quick cooking here. And then I chopped up a bunch of different nuts. I used walnuts and cashews, but you can really use whatever nuts you want. Like if you have pecans or almonds, those will all work fine too. This is where like the recipe gets fun, and you can really add whatever flavors you want to make it taste good. So I'm adding in all of those chopped nuts to the mixture. And then after I add all of those nuts in, I'm going to be adding in 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed. And I always keep this flaxseed on hand to add to recipes. It adds like a really good flavor boost. So I'm also going to be adding in chia seeds. And I think I added in 2 tablespoons along with a little sprinkle of hemp seeds and raw pumpkin seeds. These are a little big, so you can crush them up beforehand if you want. And then I'm adding in some cinnamon to add really good flavor, and salt. And I add salt to most of my recipes just to bring out the sweetness. Now, this is totally optional, but I like chocolate chips, so I added those in. And this is what the mixture looks like after all that stuff is added in. You're gonna keep stirring it until it gets kind of lumpy like this. And then you're going to put a piece of parchment paper into a baking dish and scoop that lovely mixture in so that you can press it down with a fork and make it into kind of like a patty shape. I don't know. You're then going to put it in the oven at 350 degrees, and I put it in for like 25 minutes, but honestly just keep going until it's cooked to, I guess, the consistency that you like it. I don't really have a science behind this. I kind of just cook it until it seems like it's done. So then you'll pull it out, and you're going to want to let it cool for a little bit. And then while it was cooling, I decided to add a mixed nut butter drizzle on top just for some extra nutrients and flavor. And I love nut butter, so this just makes it taste so good. And you can honestly put whatever toppings you want. So then I cut mine into 9 different squares, and you can see this is how I cut them. They end up being kind of big, so you can cut them a little bit smaller if you want. And these are so delicious. I really love this recipe. Next up, we have a delicious avocado dark chocolate mousse. So you're going to start out by cutting an avocado, and this is how I kind of slice it down the middle and then take it apart. So I had 1.5 avocados for this recipe, and this is how I take the pit out. I don't know if you guys know how to like cut avocados, but I figured I'd show you how I do it. So then I'm going to scoop it all into this bowl and mash it with a fork until it is super smooth. Like you seriously want like no lumps at all if possible. So I'm going to use cacao powder to give it that really rich chocolatey taste, and you can kind of add however much you want to make it as chocolatey as you want. Now I really love like dark chocolate, so I wanted it to taste super rich and decadent, so I added a lot. And then to add some sweetness, I added in the leftover maple syrup that I had from the last recipe, and then I added in a ton of honey because I do like it to taste pretty sweet, so I added in a good amount of honey. Then I added in some vanilla extract and some sea salt for extra flavor. I ended up adding in more cacao powder because I wanted it to taste even more chocolatey, but you can really add as much as you like. And then the next part is completely optional, but I put chocolate chips on top because who doesn't like a little more chocolate? So then I covered it up with some bees wrap, and I use this to store a lot of my little recipes in the fridge. And you're gonna wanna put this in the fridge to set up for a couple hours just so that it gets nice and firm. This mousse is literally so thick and decadent, like it is delicious. And I always add a little bit of topping. So here you could see I added on some hemp seeds and some strawberries. And this is seriously so good. Next, we have these adorable little protein chia seed puddings. So I started out with 2 mason jars, but you can use like whatever glass you have. And I added 4 tablespoons of chia seeds, but that is way too much. So I would definitely recommend using like 2 based on how this recipe went. So Livwell sent me these plant proteins to try. So I'm gonna be trying these out. And I have the vanilla and the coconut flavors. So for the coconut one, I added it in like this, and then the vanilla one, you just add in like a regular scoop. It's both 1 scoop. And you're gonna mix them together. And after you mix them, you're going to add whatever plant-based milk you choose, and I added in 100 milliliters of almond milk to each one. I ended up needing a little more liquid just because I had so many chia seeds in there, but yeah, you can do whatever liquid you want. You can even use like juice, and so I ended up like this consistency. And I wanted to do a cherry vanilla flavor with the vanilla protein, so I chopped up these cherries and gave them a nice fine chop, but not too fine, so you could still get some nice like juicy cherry bites. And then I added in those cherries to the vanilla protein powder. And then for the coconut one, I wanted to do coconut blueberry. So I actually took a little bit out of the coconut one to make some more room, and then added in those blueberries along with some spirulina powder to give it this funky blue color. And then I put both of them in the fridge, but honestly, they were so thick already that they didn't even need to go in the fridge. But this is what they came out like. And I added some hemp seeds on top, and these taste really good. I like them a lot, just don't put as many chia seeds in. The last recipe is collagen chocolate chip cookie dough, and I really think that this one is my favorite because it's so good. So I added in 2/3 of a cup of oat flour, and you can use whatever flour, but I used a mixture of oat flour and almond flour just to give it like a really nice texture. And then I put in a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, but this time I didn't melt it. And then I also added in 2 to 3 tablespoons of avocado oil to have 2 different oils and give it a good texture. This is 1 tablespoon of vanilla to give it a cookie flavor, and then I added in 3 tablespoons of a light brown sugar, as well as a very good amount of honey. This will give it that sweetness that you're looking for, and then I added in a pretty good amount of salt to balance out that sweetness because I love like a salty cookie dough. Then I also added in some almond milk, but you could use whatever plant-based milk you want. And Zhou Nutrition sent me these collagen peptides, so I thought it would be really fun to try and use them in a cookie dough recipe. I know it sounds crazy, but I swear it doesn't add any weird flavor or anything. So I added almost a full scoop to the cookie dough, and the cookie dough makes about 2 servings, so this is kind of what it looks like before you mix it all together. And you're gonna use a fork to really like cream out that coconut oil because that's gonna give it a really soft texture. But until it's like really worked in with the fork, it's not gonna form the right consistency. So you can see here it's starting to take shape, and I decided to add in my chocolate chips at that point. It was probably about a 1/4 cup, and then you're just gonna keep stirring until it gets that really good cookie dough consistency. Then you give it a little taste test to make sure it's the perfect amount of salty and sweet, and then you can kind of pour it into a little bowl like this, and you can put it in the fridge if you want to. I like to store mine in the fridge, but you literally can just eat it right there, and it's so good. And those are all the recipes that I have for you today. These recipes are all so good, so I really hope you try them. And if you try any of these recipes out, make sure to leave a comment down below letting me know which one was your favorite. Speaking of comments, I want to say thank you to last week's comment winner. Thank you guys so much for commenting on my channel. I love getting to know you all and just interacting in general. So make sure to leave a comment down below if you want to be next week's comment winner. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell so that you get a notification whenever I post a video. I also want to say that I really want to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the month. And once I do hit 10K, I have a little fun surprise planned. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. So until next time, love you. Bye.